Chelsea's draw against Wolves on Saturday saw their fourth manager of the season, and it wouldn't be an unfamiliar face. Last season in January, after dragging Everton in the relegation zone, Frank Lampard has been appointed Chelsea's caretaker manager for the remainder of the season, just over 2 years after he was sacked by the club. Chelsea bringing Lampard back is a cherry on the top of the cake for the team that sits 11th in the Premier League and struggling to score goals, but at least is the expected breakaway leader. How did the 2021 Champions League winners get to this point, and what is the new ownership doing? This season was supposed to be a new dawn in Chelsea. Well, the club has run unprecedented success under the ownership of Roman Abramovich. Chelsea have justifiably developed a reputation for being world-class managers a shockingly short leash. A winning trophy doesn't seem to supply managers goodwill. It just gives them little time. In all, there were 16 managers during Abramovich's 19-year tenure. None have made it for 4 consecutive years at the helm. It's a stark contrast to the history of other Premier League clubs with the likes of Klopp, Guardiola, Ferguson, Wenger. In Chelsea's defence, the team was largely unfazed by all the managerial upheaval, winning 5 Champions League, 2 Champions League trophies during Abramovich. And yeah, the fact it came with a new manager in board, both for their Champions League winning season, kind of says it all. Abramovich Chelsea with the English equivalent to Real Madrid, establishing a culture so conditioned to winning that even the faintest hint would get stumped out. Given the way Chelsea was treated, chaos, you'd expected the club to be like that. Of course, Abramovich is no longer the owner. But yeah, the club's new ownership group, led by Todd Boehly and the private equity from Clearlake Capital, claim to have a different philosophy in mind, one focused on the long term. But yeah, that doesn't seem to be the case. In order to kickstart the new era, he acted as the club's interim sporting director and made a move that was quite Abramovichian from a ruthlessness perspective. Despite winning the Champions League in the first season and having one of the best managerial records in the team's history, Tuchel was sacked just 7 games into the campaign. Chelsea's form has admittedly dipped dating back into the end of the last season. Their poor run combined with a prickly relationship with the owners, Tuchel's decision to leave felt inevitable, but still most supporters weren't impressed with it. For better or worse, Boehly was decisive and embraced his new role. Interestingly, rather than pursuing a big name manager, he opted for someone less known, Graham Potter. For this, it could have been assumed as a nobody, but you know, considering the job he done at likes of Brighton, taking the Swedish club from the 4th tier to the top tier, playing really good football, it could be seen as a good signing. All told, it could have been a shrewd move in the bigger picture, but in the end it just didn't work out. Potter is a fantastic coach. Chelsea's owner gave him the groundwork of what to do, but injury crisis, and you know, I think just struggling with managing what he could do with a big club like Chelsea kind of held him back a bit. They had players in the academy like Lewis Hall could be used, but instead it kind of seemed like they were wasting money on players that maybe Potter even didn't want, the likes of Fernandes, Mudryk, which they just wasted a ridiculous amount of money on. Now got themselves into FFP trouble, which could come down later in the year and bite them. Extremely long contracts, and yeah, I just don't think that was suited down to Potter, and it led to a calamitous season, and it's all been lost to Chelsea. And now with Lampard in charge, can you really see anything, you know, that's really going to improve? Because personally, I can't. You know what I mean? It just doesn't breed confidence at all. I was convinced Potter could be the answer if he was given time, but it just seems like it wants to be done Boehly's way, in a mad, chaotic way. And can the likes of Nagelsmann turn it round? Who knows? Because it just seems to be a bit of a madhouse. I have the players, but how long will it last? And where does it end? That's a big question for Chelsea's fans, because put simply, Todd Boehly's reign so far has been nothing but chaotic and catastrophic. But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Thanks so much for watching. To like, share, subscribe, and thoughts, comments on my photo, football news, and subscribe to the channel. I'm very appreciated. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.